Yeah, we gonna get it right on this one. Let's go.
Nazi did them nasty.
Money on my mind, hustling on the grind. Entrepreneur mindset, success I define. Setting goals, aiming high. I won't settle for less. I'm on a mission to conquer. I want to set defeat, wins after wins.
Alright guys, what is up? Welcome to another episode of UnF Yourself. In this episode, I want to dive deep into something that's been very intriguing, and I've been studying a lot, and I feel that a lot of us, especially as men, and need to sort of dig deep within our souls and kind of understand the process of unfucking yourself. In fact, I spoke at an event this week, and somebody mentioned, how does one exactly unfuck themselves, right? So I've been doing a lot of studying, a lot of reading, a lot of note-taking, journaling. And by the way, shout out to Francisco Jara. He was just on the episode this week, and what a fucking amazing story. You do not want to miss this. We're going to be launching that one next week, full video on this one. This guy's just next level, but also brought up a lot of thinking out of me, processes, and kind of understanding why some of the things that have happened to me, some of the things that I have to sort of fight, obstacles, adversities. And the biggest question of all is, why is it that these things happen to us, right? Have you ever thought of the concept that maybe some people are born with it, right? And they got lucky, and we often think, well, fuck, why don't we have that, right? Or why don't we able to achieve that? For the majority of you, that's a very common question, right? And the problem is that when we ask ourselves these questions, we're truly not processing what we're asking. Instead, there's certain deep scars within ourselves that are making us want these things, think that they are better, think that those people have it easier. And when I sat down and by the way, just a little background on Francisco, this guy grew up wealthy. This guy grew up basically having what everybody is asking. And even like that, faced adversity, challenges, obstacles to the point where he had to reinvent himself, right? So there's no such thing as some people do born or some people are born lucky, some people don't have it. And that sort of takes away the misconception of that thought that when we process things, we're thinking, well, they have it easier and I just had the bad cards dealt. No, we all have some sort of unfucking to do. And with what I've been reading, what I've been sort of studying, I kind of want to share that. And this episode is going to be a little bit deep because you know me, I don't hold back. I'm always trying to figure out what's next, what's best, either if I'm reading about how to, level up, whether it be mindset-wise, physical, just work-wise, entrepreneurship, business. But I think there's also a big part that it's always left out, which is the spiritual side. And yeah, I do believe that there is a God. I do believe there is a higher power. I do believe that there's so many unanswered questions that during life, we have to sort of figure out what it means to us, because not everybody's going to have that same meaning, and not everybody's going to be in that same level to understand it. And what Francisco sort of taught me was that, hey, you could go down some rabbit holes, man. And once you start getting some answers, you're going to realize that there's a lot more to things that have happened to you than what you think. And so I even have had conversations with ChatGPT. And if I were to show you guys how intense these conversations have gotten, by the way, I did not know. And I don't think you could do this with the original ChatGPT. You got to get the paid version. But just the conversations I've been having with Chat on these topics and kind of further investigating and asking more and sort of like break it down. And the thing about me is that I like to see things visually, right? So I request for him to break it down like if I'm teaching it to a kid. Like, give me that dumb of an example, like Barney style, because I want to process it and then kind of work backwards towards it. And I would ask for definition. And I think this is something we all should do. Like, take one day out of the week, read something powerful, something that's really impacting. Because when we talk about self-development, there's so many ways that one can go about that. But there's really only a few that guide you towards that right path. And when you find that, and when you get there, that's when we want to start asking questions. This is also going to help you know a lot about where you're going and what your purpose truly is and how to find that. Because as men, the biggest question we always have is, why the fuck am I lost? Or why do I feel this way? Or I'm on top of the world. Why is it that I don't know where everything's just not clicking? And it's not coincidence. There's a reason for that. And I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that I've been studying. And that's why in this episode, I want to put it out on Friday, because it's not going to be a lot of motivation, rah-rah. It's going to be a lot of just process thinking. I want you to think. Once you listen to this episode, I really want you to fucking think. I want you to take a minute, slow down, pull over wherever you're at, take a deep breath, let it out through your mouth. Do like 15 sets of those. And on the last one, just hold your breath and just ask yourself, what are the questions that I'm seeking? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? And by the way, guys, I'm not no fucking guru or anything, but man, I'm telling you that a lot of these things that I have tried have opened up my mind in things that are fucking next level and make sense. And I'm going to share that with you guys in this episode. So one thing is that, you know, as I shared in the podcast, the relationship with my father has always been something that was in the back of my head. One, because there's a lot of things that I blamed in the beginning. And what I'm figuring out now, that the holding of those experiences, those traumas, you know, we could also say the grudges, holding the grudges, right? Anytime you do that, we already know it's a bad thing, right? But there's also levels to that. And when you're doing it for so long, it actually penetrates in you. It becomes like a second nature to anything you do. You're holding some sort of grudge, or holding on something. You're not letting it go. And it becomes a fucking problem. And I realized that the more that I'm discovering about myself, it's small little bits of incidents, situations that might have happened that evolved around that same concept or whatever happened with my dad that causes me to do certain things. Another example is the fact that because of those situations, and I'm starting to realize this, and there's this term in the psychology world called the shadow. The shadow is, and let me read you guys actually the definition straight from chat, because I've done a lot of research and there's a lot of talk about this shadow. I kind of have the understanding of what it is, but I wanted to break it down again, Barney style, for you guys. So I'm going to read it off ChatGPT exactly what it says. The concept of the shadow originates from the work of Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung, referring to the unconscious part of the personality that the conscious ego does not identify itself with. In Jungian psychology, the shadow is essentially the collection of traits, desires, and emotions that are rejected and suppressed by the conscious self due to societal look at that, I can't even read, societal norms, personal morals, or the individual's perception of self-identity. The shadow can include both positive and negative aspects. Negative aspects may involve traits such as selfishness, aggression, envy, which all individuals might find morally objectionable or socially undesirable. Positive aspects might include hidden talents or qualities that an individual has not recognized or developed due to various reasons, including fear or low self-esteem. Now, let me process this for a minute, because when I dumb this down, by the way, and I got this through a test I took, and I highly suggest everybody do this. This is something that Francisco shared with me, and he has an event coming up on March 30th. I will be there, and you're more than free to message me about it. I'll definitely put you in contact. I definitely want to do this. I'm so interested on further investigating this, because once I took this test, everything was dead on. And the more I study it, the more I went down this rabbit hole of kind of understanding why some of the things that I did or choices I made, it became evident that it all came because of the shadows that I am fighting against, the shadows that I penetrated deeply into myself because of situations that happened to me. one of the biggest one, for example, and if you heard this podcast, is the fact that I have always felt the need to prove myself, right? And going back, the reason I joined the Marine Corps, as I thought, was because I was trying to get away. I was trying to leave. I wanted that freedom. But no, it wasn't that. It was because I needed to prove my dad I was good enough. My dad always said that I needed to work harder, that I needed to put in that extra work. Eventually, it became so much that it cracked down my confidence. It made me think twice before I did anything. And so by me taking that move was me like kind of stomping my chest saying, I'm going to fucking show you I can make this happen. And I did all the way good, meritoriously promoted, graduated guy, getting all these accolades and awards, into I ran in a situation where there was more personalities like my dad that I could handle. And that's true fucking facts. And when I hit that blocking stone, I fucking crumbled. I couldn't take it. And so it became more of the upsetness, the envy that I failed, that I came short. And then how do I now fix that? How do I now become acceptable? How do I, again, build that confidence? And who do I have to show? What do I got to do now? And this is where you start getting yourself in an environment in which you are surrounded by the wrong individuals, because you need to feed off of that. You need to feed off that acceptance that I feel confident. Hey, I have these two guys only that I'm going to hang out with because they listen to me. They look up to me. Therefore, it gives me power. I feel power. And I would walk into certain rooms where that was not the case. And off the bat, I could just feel that insecurity, the self-esteem, that feeling of how it felt when my dad would tell me that it wasn't good enough in that present moment, which would cost me to make bad decisions, corrupt, not be able to talk to a girl, be able to start a conversation with a girl, and then last minute not be able to close it because I would just completely crush. It was like that feeling that, hey, you're not going to be good enough. You're not good enough. So you might as well stop. And everything I have done in my life to this point has been because I need to prove to somebody that I can fucking get it done. I could fucking do it. Some of these decisions have even been in decisions that were not practical, basically not well decided on, but I did them because, again, the mentality was that I need to prove that I was the fucking man, that I could fucking do it, that I could get it done. And you start thinking, wow, I'm taking out, it's like unwebbing something, right? And you already took something out and you're figuring out and you're just like, it's all starting to make sense now. But as you're unweaving it, more things are coming out, right? Now you're kind of seeing a bigger picture. Now you're thinking, now I know why I drank. Now I know why this happened. Now I know why in my past relationships I had these issues. Now I know why money was an issue during this time in my life. Now I know why. It all kind of starts puzzling in. The biggest question becomes now, fuck, how could I not figure this out sooner? And it's the common question that many of us have, because if you're going through a situation where you're stuck or you're just like in depression or you just feel that everything's just not working out, the first thing you're going to do is sort of, who do I blame? Or if you don't have somebody to blame, you automatically accept that that's just the destiny that was given to you. But in reality, that's the opportunity that we have to start digging in and trying to understand exactly what we need to unfuck. And that's the hard part, because nobody wants to accept that at that point. And after reading all this and understanding, I'm realizing that I had many opportunities. And what's crazy is that you realize, man, I had many opportunities and I let them all go because I didn't want to face those fears. I did not want to face the reality. I did not want to face the fact that everything that has gone on was because of me. It's me. I can't blame what happened to my dad and be like, that's it, you fucked up my life. No. I can't blame the situations that, came about because of this decisions that I made that cost me to end up being homeless or be broke and all that. Everything that happens, there's a reason why it happened. And we never look at it that way. We always want to step outside and look at it more as, well, it happened because of that person. It happened because of this. Man, I'm telling you, I've been just diving into all this, and I could pinpoint to every moment where I have had a devastating, impactful situation happen, and I could give you backwards every step that should have been done to be avoided. And when you could do that, you know for a fact that you're in the right path to understanding that everything that occurs to us is choices, our own choices, our own processes, our own shadows that cost it. They cost it and, put us in a situation in which now it's sort of like, well, how do I get back on track? How do I start fixing this, right? And that's sort of where the path I'm at. It's how do I unfuck myself even more on another level of unfucking ourselves? Because it's something that I want to go that path of just being a better person, not just as a husband, as a father, as a friend, as a businessman, but understanding why I'm here. What's the real reason I'm here? Why did JP come to this world? And there's so much more that we could go back into this. And there's so much critical thinking and just scenarios. You could just go down a rabbit hole that's fucking crazy. But that's the interesting part, that when you look at it that way, you realize that we do have options. Options have always been there. Options never left. It's our decisions, our way of looking at things, our perspective that put us in the situation that we're in. And the test that I took is called the Gene Key test, or the Gene Key. What is it called? Let me tell you guys right now, real quick. It's called the Gene Key Profile. So you go to the Gene Keys, GeneKeys, and you click on Free Profile. It's very simple. It's only going to ask you to input your name, birthday, time that you were born. If you don't remember, just put noon. And I want you guys to take this exam or this test and study it. Study it. But when I mean study it, guys, I mean truly study it. Take the time. Take maybe a day. I honestly think you need a day. Take a day and go to the beach. Go whatever you feel at peace and read it. And then I want you to get ChatGPT. And when you get your section with your summary, I want you to get that summary, plug it into chat, and ask it to break it down to you. Like, Chad, further explain this summary to me. And then once that happens, ask again. Give me examples. Break it down even more. If it was a kid reading this, what would it sound like? And let's start that process, because in order to unfuck ourselves, we gotta start open. We gotta start looking things with an open mindset. And this is the start. And this Friday, I want you guys to take that step. Let's start evolving. Let's break the cycle. Let's change. And overall, let's start making a fucking difference. Let's fucking go.